Why are so many people failing their interviews? If you are following me on this podcast, please don't be one of those people failing the interviews. And I'm going to leave some tips, some interview tips in today's podcast that seem obvious, but apparently are not in today's day and age. And so with Become Alive and with Become Alive Recruiting, I'm going to give you actual tips on how to pass that first interview. So listen up if you're in the job market. Hey, you're listening to Become Alive with Katie, where I encourage you to become alive and live your full God-given potential. Interview tip number 1. We're just going to get right into it. This one sounds so obvious. Check your connection for your Zoom, your Google Meets, your whatever online link they're giving you for a video interview if it's a remote job. Check your link prior to the interview because one, just so you know, I get notification emails saying someone logged in to the Zoom link or like Bob was trying to get on the Zoom link. And I love when I see that like the day before or an hour before or even 30 minutes before the interview because it shows me that they're already going to be, I already can make the assumption that they're going to be a prepared candidate. They're actually caring about the interview, which you'd be surprised so many people are not caring about the interview and it shows in your interviews, and that's why you're not getting the second interview. The first interview is literally the easiest. You should be able to get the second interview invite. If you're not getting the second interview invite, you're going to want to take a look in the mirror. So check your connection on Zoom. A lot of times people are late also if they don't check it. And they're like, oh, Katie, the Zoom made me do a software update. I'm like, well, that update was in the morning, and so you could have had time. I gave you the link yesterday. Like, you should have prepared and updated your connection, and now we're late in the meeting, and I'm not going to give you extra time because I have back-to-back interviews all day. So you literally just lost time because you weren't prepared to show off your best self. And now I'm literally making the fair assumption that you don't care about this role. And when you're interviewing, the company, the person that's interviewing you should be able to make the assumption that this is going to be what the person that you're presenting is going to be your best self, because it all goes down from there and then you get into your normal routine. And so if you're already showcasing that your best self is someone who's not prepared, who's late, who realizes there's a software update when they could have made that realization earlier, it's already a red flag. And why would I want to give you a salary and have you sign a contract and showcase you to my CEO and my leadership team? Do you see where this goes? And out of so many applicants, you just can't miss these simple things right now or ever, to be honest. Don't use your phone when it comes to that whole video connection piece. Please don't use your phone in an interview. I can tell because it will give you like this small phone screen on Zoom at least. And so just don't use your phone on an interview. I've had people take their interviews in cars. Oh my gosh. So that's when I know that one, they're on their phone, and two, you're in the car. I can't, like, if you guys are laughing right now, you should be laughing because I can't tell you how many times since we went remote 5 years ago, in the world where people are taking their interviews in cars thinking it's okay. Like they don't have an excuse. They literally think it's normal, or they'll have an excuse. And I'm like, that's even worse. Cause like, I would have rather, if you know that it's wrong, I would have rather you told me that like something came up and you needed to reschedule. I think this goes to a lot of like entry level positions. So if you're kind of like out of college, fresh in the job market, or switching your industry and you're in a career transition. I think I just noticed this for a lot of like green entry level candidates that are taking their interviews on their phone or in their car. And so don't do that. If you don't have a computer with a video camera, ask a friend. There's so many things that you can do that it's just truly not an excuse anymore. So just don't do that. And if you're doing that, don't expect a second interview. Camera ready. Okay, so this is interview tip number 2. We're getting to the second thing. So that was a lot in interview tip number 1. So like I said, you would think these are normal things, and they're not. And I also, if you guys are not entry level and you're listening to this, I want you to listen to this to really Listen to the confidence that you should have as a candidate, because this is 80% of the candidates that I've seen for the past 5 years are showing up in just kind of these ways. And I'll continue to mention some ways that just are unacceptable. And these are the people that you're up against. And so if you're not of that, low caliber, if you're not sitting in that lower bar of a candidate, then, and you're still not getting the second interviews, a lot of times that has to do with the confidence that you're showing on camera. And so I want you to listen to this still. If you're like, well, Katie, these are obvious things that I would never do. Good on you. Thank you. And in that, I want you to realize how many people are doing this, so you can realize that you can be more confident. You can come to those interviews knowing that you actually are the top 20, if not 10% of the candidates that I'm meeting, and me meaning just a recruiter. So I would say any recruiter is meeting. And I want you to take away just having more confidence in the interviews, because that's also going to show, and that's going to lead you to that second interview invite as well. So tip number 2, that was like extra bonus tip. Tip number 2, be camera ready. This includes what to wear. I actually just I'm interviewing for like a mid-level role right now. And so think about this. This is like a $90,000 annual salary right now. So why would I want to give someone a $90,000 paycheck that I have to have our CEO and CFO check off for me? And I'm like verbally giving them like, oh my gosh, Bob is incredible. I want you to approve this role, and give them the check. Like, they're trusting me that I'm bringing a great person to the role. And I've had people for this particular $90,000 role, but this is just an example for every role that I've seen, show up on camera in a sweatshirt. Last week it was a zip up hoodie. Like, are you kidding me? And I've seen people just in hoodies, in hats, in just like baggy t-shirts with logos from brands on them. I've seen people wear just like way too low cut of things. And I'm like, girl, you got to stop leaning over the camera. I've seen people just wear like inappropriate like tank tops and stuff. I'm like, would you ever wear that in an office interview, in an in-person setting? You would not. And so just think of it that way. Like, you wear the sweatpants on the bottom. I've got the sweatpants and the comfy socks on the bottom. But on the top, you just always want to look presentable. So that's so basic. But in an interview, if you're not getting that second interview because you're showing up with just showing like that you're kind of a lazy hot mess, why would I want to give you that $90,000 paycheck and showcase my notes and your name in your resume to my CFO who's going to sign the paycheck for you? Do you see where this is going? This is how recruiters think. This is what we're being paid to do, to present the best new hire for the company, because it's a business and the business needs to make money. So I need to bring the best people to the business so the business can succeed. And so it just boggles my mind when people aren't passing that first interview like often. They're like, oh, I haven't passed a first interview in like a year. I'm like, well, it's probably you. With that being said, there are so many people that are incredible that I've met, and it's just truly a fact of that. Like, we don't have the space to push you to the second interview just because we're only hiring one role and we can only take the best person. And so I would say, don't think that I'm saying like, oh, it's so easy to pass the first interview, and if you're not, you're just making like stupid mistakes. That's not always the case. I reject so many incredible people all of the time in the first interview, but I hear a lot of people tell me that they haven't passed a first interview in a long period of time. Like, they've never gotten to the second interview in a 6 months to a year period of being in the job market. And that's where you can know, like, okay, it is probably me. Okay. Secondly, so on that camera ready note, I would just say like the background, making sure it's not a mess. I've had people show up with a unmade bed or laundry. So don't do that. And then, have your lights on. I've had people take interviews in the dark. That's so weird. And like just the screen from their laptop is their light. Don't do that. And then just be confident. Smile, be confident. Also, okay, if you're watching the video portion of this, like how would I look right now? Not smiling. if I'm in an interview, I can't do it. And someone's asking me a question, that the interviewer is asking me a question, and I'm just like standing there or sitting there the whole time on Zoom, just kind of giving like no emotion on my face, acting like I don't really want to be there until they like finish their question, and then I think about it, and then I, showcase my emotions or my gratitude to be there through my question. So just don't do that. I see it all the time. So just smile. You hear yourself come across differently when you smile. Record yourself on camera. Record yourself saying the same sentence, not smiling and then smiling. Just smile. Smile on the camera. So many times, someone that's coming across confident, that's smiling on the camera, like they can make it past that first interview, even if your resume is not that good, because a company is going to want to hire someone who just knows business acumen, basic business acumen. Okay. Tip number 3. So we've gone over checking your Zoom connection. We've gone over being camera ready. And then tip number 3 is be prepared. What's that from? Lion King? So tip number 3 is be prepared. Know about the company. I take notes every time when I ask someone, like, why did you apply for this role? And they're like, well, after I noticed these things on your website and read about your core values and read about your CEO and read about what you do for your clients, I'm like, okay, you've done your homework. You were prepared for this interview. Thank you. You should always, 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 before any interview, go to the company's website and go to their careers page or their culture page, whatever it is. Find the core values, know who their CEO's name is, know generally what they do as a company, and know a little bit about their culture or their mission statement, whatever you can find. You'll want to know all of those things, and you'll want to talk about it, even if you're not asked about it. Talk about it. That's going to show that you're prepared and you've done your homework, because now I'm making the assumption for all of the jobs or all the tasks that I want to give you in your future job, that you're going to be prepared. You're going to do your homework. You're not going to show up last minute and present yourself to a team or to a client with things that you didn't do your homework first about. So I am in the most fair way, can make that assumption, and every recruiter is doing that. So always do your homework. Always spend time going to the company's website and reviewing and taking note of all of those things. In this remote culture, you should have notes next to you on your video calls. If you're not having notes, I mean, I hope everyone is right now. But you're just do yourself a favor, and then also you can take notes with you to an in-person interview. That should be pretty normal, and just have like some notes by you, and maybe it's a nice sheet of paper where you wrote down your own notes about the company's mission statement and their core values and things like that. I would say that's I would really appreciate if a candidate did that back in the in-person, in-office days. Okay, so know the company. Yeah, know the CEO. Any public information you can find out about their profitability too, because when it comes time for you to ask questions at the end, and you can showcase, like, I've noticed that, like, this is where you're at. This is your annual recurring revenue. Where are your goals in the next 3 years? Because now I'm thinking about employee retention. And if I know that I can retain you as an employee, then I want to hire you. The company wants to invest in you. So if you're asking investment related questions, that's a huge win for the company. So any public information you can find out about profitability. If it's not public and you don't know, you can ask about it. You can ask about the company's goals, and you can say, like, I know some things you might need to keep private, but what can you tell me about the next 2 to 3 years of your company's profitability goals? They're going to like that. Okay, so that was number 3, be prepared. There's just something I want to say about that too before I move on to the next thing. Right now, there's a lot of people doing so many interviews, like interviews once a week, twice a week, and you're in the job market and you're doing the work, and that's hard. And in that, you can switch up your information and about different companies and make a mistake by sharing something about the company that was actually about a different company. I see that happen all the time. Don't do that. Leave yourself notes. Know the differences and know which company you're showing up to in that interview. So that's just something that you should be doing if you're taking tons of interviews. from different companies. Okay. Number 4, interview tip number 4. Your overall awareness of the room, whether it's a one-on-one interview, whether it's a group interview, if you're further along in the interview process and you're doing like a panel interview, and you're going to just want to take note of just the overall awareness. Is it your turn to talk next? Like, be prepared for the questions that they're asking and be ready to share your thoughts. Are you talking over the questions? I have people that will talk over me or will try to lead the room. Just don't do that. Just let the interviewers from the company, let them lead, let them finish their statements, and just notice also what other people are saying in like that group setting. And you might want to, when it comes time for you to speak, you might want to remember something that like Nancy said or Bob said, and then like make a comment on it, because that shows that you're actively listening and you're being an active participant and you're not making it all about you. And that's such a great sign of teamwork and overall team communication. And so those are just great things where I would say that it's like such a winning scenario if you can find yourself in a group room, because now you're going to be able to show off your teamwork skills. And obviously that's what companies want. So I would say like take that as a tool and run with it. Okay. So that was tip number 4. And then, in that like overall awareness of the room, I wrote down just your overall confidence. And I think I've touched on this multiple times at this point, but the interview is your time to shine. It's your time to brag about yourself. It's your time to show off your best self. So just have that confidence. Sit with those shoulders back. Your body language is so important on these interviews. Don't be slouched over. Be confident. Wear something that makes you feel confident. Have your hair done. Have your makeup done. If you're a guy, don't do that. And just be your best self. And maybe like before the interview, like play your favorite song in the car. This is me turning on the radio in the car. Put on your pump up jam, your pump up song before the interview. You need to showcase your confident self. I don't like using the word hate. I take it back. I don't like when people give themselves the excuse of like, well, I'm an introvert and so my confidence looks different. False. That's like the lamest excuse. Anyone knows what confidence looks like. I'm not talking about an outgoing, exaggerated personality. You can have confidence and be more of a quiet person. For my point, just don't make the excuse of like, well, Katie, my confidence is more introverted, so it's going to come across differently in an interview. That's so not true, and that's giving yourself an excuse to just not show up well. So don't do that to yourself. Show up well for yourself. Show up well by taking a stand in the room, owning your space, and just coming with that overall confidence. I think that's really what it is. It's confidence. It's not introvertism or extrovertism. It's just confidence and someone that knows how to use their voice and wants to share it, wants to share their thoughts with that room. Okay. My last tip. No. Second to last tip for you guys. Oh my gosh. This one. You guys, I have interviewed so many amazing people that I'm so ready to like show why I need to push them through the second interview and why they're better than, our top 3 candidates that we already have. And at the end of the interview, I say, okay, do you have any questions for me? And you guys probably hear this every time you're in an interview. Do you have any questions for me? Your answer is always yes. Yes, I have questions for you. Oh my gosh. People literally at the end of the interview are saying, no, I'm good. Can you just go over the next steps? Oh my gosh, that is the wrong answer. This one is one of those things where like there is a right and the wrong answer. Please always have questions prepared for the end of the interview. 1 to 3 questions for the interviewer. The people that are interviewing you love to talk about themselves. So I love asking a personal question, a you question. So I love asking the question of, what's your favorite part of the company? They'll love that. And then they'll like warm up to you and it'll be great. And then obviously ask one about like how you can, like, what does your A players look like? How do they show up to work? How do I know that I'm going to succeed? Or what does success look like in your 30 and 60, 90-day plan? there's just, I mean, you can Google questions to ask in an interview. Like, just take some from the internet. It is not hard. So always do that. Your answer to, do you have any questions for me, is always yes. Okay. My last tip for you all. And hopefully at this point you're like, Katie, all these are such obvious things. I can't believe there's people that are doing them. Because that's what I hope my audience, my audience that I'm growing with Become Alive, that's what I hope you guys are. However, if you're not, that's okay. I love you anyways. But it's my goal to help you get there. I'm never going to be that career coach or just any sort of coach that is just going to make you feel better about yourselves and help you continue to sit in that victim mindset and give yourself excuses to, like, the job market is so hard. Oh my gosh, no one's giving me a job. Like, no. When you work with me, we don't get to do that. So, with that being said, the last thing that I'm going to say is everyone should be doing this. After your interview is done, not even just the first interview, but the second, the third, the fourth, every single interview that you're doing, you should always be sending a follow-up email. A follow-up email. That is something that I see, like, I've literally had 2 top candidates and we're like, oh, which one do we hire? And then this was a final interview. And then one candidate sent the whole interview team a thank you email. And guess who we hired? Because that type of business acumen is, it will go so far and show so much of how that employee is going to treat the clients, treat the team. Just the overall, like, get it factor, like someone that, like, gets it and knows that, like, that's something that you should be doing. So send the follow-up email. It's just always going to give you that, like, gold star on your interview notes that the company is now taking and sharing across the leadership team. So always, always, always do that. If you don't know the email for the person that interviewed you, ask for it. The recruiter that you're talking to, ask for it. I see that all the time. You can also ask for it in your interview, but if you forget, just email your recruiter. Okay, that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 interview tips plus a million bonus ones. You guys, I want you to go and get a job. The job market is truly a game, and it's a numbers game, and it's a how to show up game. It's how to show up well game. But hopefully that's how you're approaching your life too, how to show up well. Okay, I want to wrap up with a Bible verse because I said that everything that I'm teaching and talking about is always going to be from a biblical lens. So this one that I'm going to give is from Colossians 3:23, and it says, whatever you do, work heartily as for the Lord and not for men, knowing that from the Lord you will receive the inheritance as your reward. You are serving the Lord Christ. So I just love that verse about you're not working for men. You're not trying to people please men. And you're not trying to people please the person on the other side of the screen in your interview. You're really doing this for God. And so as a Christian, in the back of your mind in these interviews that you're doing, you really should be thinking about, like, is God pleased with the way that I'm showing up? Is God joyful in how I'm presenting myself and how I prepared for this interview? Or is he kind of like, man, like, I love you, but, like, bummer, man. Like, I wish you did a little bit better. Because that's what a loving father does. And that's the character of God. And he's a loving father, and he'll rebuke those and he'll discipline those that he loves. I forget what verse that's in, but show up well because you're working for the Lord, which hopefully you're holding to a higher standard even than the people that you're trying to people please across the screen. And that's going to even help you show up even better. So you guys, I pray that you are going after the jobs that you want and are working hard to get that and taking action. And then with prayer, just asking God for his strength to open those doors for you and to get you to land the interview of your dreams. Thank you guys so much for today's episode. Please leave me all the comments and everything. And I can't wait to hear about how you're doing in today's job market.